600.
If you're listening to the sound of my voice, that can mean only one thing, and that's that you are in the market polls, baby. Let's do it. The merge has shipped.
Come on, baby.
Yeah.
Come on now.
That is the date that the Federal Reserve will be making their Fed rate decision.
Well, gee, Tim, I would love to do that. I think we're still going to see projects like Bored Ape Yacht Clubs or things like that still exist. The answer is 1,000 Dogecoin.
Oh.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. Here, this is the show that goes live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you don't want to miss it. We got a lot to talk about because this week is about to get very interesting for crypto. Almost every single one except for XRP seems to be sitting at a key support line and is about to make a very important decision, but Cardano might be the biggest of them all because not only is it sitting back low at a flat level of support, it just got a buy flash. The question is this a legit buy flash or is this a fake out? Make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the show to find out more about that. But also, big news coming out of England where they are actually moving back into quantitative easing and it's going to be getting a little aggressive. What does that mean for crypto? What does that mean for all of our viewers over there in the UK? We will discuss that and more. We do not have a guest on the show today, but T. Shroom and I, in the discussion portion, are going to be talking a little bit more about market caps overall for crypto, making some more predictions. I know in last Friday's show we made a couple of predictions about a couple of those coins, but we're going to kind of break it down realistically. What could we expect? Because there are lots of possibilities. And nobody knows for certain, but there are clues that are left on the charts and in logical thinking that could give us an idea of where crypto could get to at the next bull run. With that said, though, I'm about to introduce my fantastic team here at Coffee and Crypto, and if you guys love them, make sure you like that like button and subscribe to the channel. I got T-Shroom over here in his nice lime jacket.
What's going on, guys? This is not lime, it's neon green.
It's close enough.
That is definitely, in my opinion, a variety of lime.
It's more of a mint.
It is mint. Yeah, okay,
Mint?
I'll give it to that. That's mint. It's
All
mint.
right, that's fair. That's fair. How was your weekend, T-Shroom?
It was really, really good. Got a lot of rest and relaxation and got to spend some time with family, so can't complain.
It's good stuff.
You can't.
That is good stuff. How about you, Smay? How you doing?
I'm doing. Whoa!
Whoa.
I've shaved.
Naked
Oh,
face
man.
Smay.
So, anyways, just to get that out of the way, the shock that you guys indubitably felt. What I would like to say, though, is my weekend was actually a pretty, it was a good weekend, but man, oh man, I did not treat my body correct this weekend because Saturday, I stayed up really late Friday night doing stuff, and pretty much I ended up sleeping all day Saturday. I woke up at 5 on Saturday. That's like probably the most egregious sleep. Well, I woke up early, then I went back to sleep, took a nap, woke up at 5.
Yeah.
And so that's probably the most egregious sleeping in I think I've ever done in my life. So shout out to you, Saturday, for being a guy who really kicked my butt.
Yeah, I did some deadlifts over the weekend that felt good when doing them, but this morning my back's feeling a little tight. It's that DOMS, that delayed onset muscle soreness. So you
It'll
can't even
get ya.
talk correctly.
You got some muckle soreness.
Some
It'll
muscle
get ya.
soreness. Let me know in chat what you guys did this weekend. I would love to see who had the funnest weekend. I mean, other than working out, I watched football. You know, we'll skip over that one. My team still sucks.
I watched. I will say I did have an exciting weekend because I did get to. And by the way, this is going to be one to the pot because I went and watched a couple really great movies this weekend.
One to the pot.
Well, just wait.
The bank?
And Tim hits me up and says, "Hey, you want to go see a movie together?" I said, "Yeah, dude, let's go see a movie together at this time." And guess who decided to bail? This guy. And he says, "I'm the bully."
Listen,
wow.
I wanted to go watch a movie at like 7 or 8 or something, and you sent me a movie that was like at 9:40 p.m. I'm an old man now. I go to bed at like 10, so I'm not doing that.
Yeah, well, clearly I don't because I just sleep all day Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
you know, here's where we're gonna go to, Smay. Speaking of movies and speaking of shouting out Smay's channel where he gets to review all those movies, it's about time to read those green names. And in this edition of Green Names, I want you to give a quick prediction on what you think their favorite movie is.
Oh, I'd love to read. I would love to go ahead and do that. All right, so here we go. This is I feel a little bit lighter. I feel a little bit more aerodynamic than I usually do. So let's see how that is conducive to reading green names. All right, we have Mike Lowry, whose favorite movie is I'm going to say Mike Lowry's favorite movie.
We have to move quicker than this.
I know. This is tough, though. Okay, Avatar. I'm going to say Avatar is his favorite movie. Gia S.'s favorite movie is Top Gun Maverick. Mitch Shaw's favorite movie is the original Top Gun because he likes it classic. Who else we got here? Justin Eubanks is a huge fan of Hacksaw Ridge. He loves war dramas. Let's see here. We got who else we got here? I'm not seeing a lot of variety in the green names today.
Fellow?
Oh, we got a Mellow Fellow. His favorite is The Big Lebowski. We got Crypto JMP, who looks like his favorite movie is probably some kind of sci-fi movie. I'm going to say maybe Alien. And then we have here, we got
Daniel J.
Daniel J. Thanks for helping me out. I'm trying to scroll through these green names. I'm not finding them. Oh, first of all, green names. His favorite is The Muppet Show. Movie, whatever. I'm sure there's a movie. We have Grand Refit Incorporated, whose favorite movie is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because of Brad Pitt's roofing scene. And then we have
Go CJC.
Kogo CJC. His favorite movie is Soul Surfer. And the Coin Father, his favorite movie is the movie Father about a guy with dementia.
Last one, Crypto Mini Bike.
Crypto Mini Bike's favorite is
Hot Rod. I'm going to say it's Hot Rod.
Tim, I'm going to need you to cut that out.
I'm trying to help you.
So I'm gonna say
you're
it's
taking your time.
I'm gonna say it's probably Hot Rod. Okay. So. Tim, here's the thing. You're clearly trying to speed me up, right? And
I didn't know that we were gonna have to critically think through every single one of them and take that time. But a lot of them were helping. They were commenting videos as well. I don't know if we got any of them right.
Commenting videos.
They were commenting. A lot of the green names were commenting their favorite videos.
Well, that's not what we asked.
Yeah, well, they did it anyway because they're that good at. I didn't have to ask, and they just knew the game.
Tim,
so.
this is a good question. What's your favorite video? Not movie.
Video?
Favorite video. And it can't be one of ours.
Like a YouTube video?
Yeah, well, any video, and it can't be one of ours.
Goodness gracious. I don't know. Let me think about that after the market pulse. We'll
Your favorite video ever just on YouTube?
No, it doesn't have to be on YouTube. It just be anywhere on the internet, just a video, not a movie,
let me
not
think
a
about
show.
that. We're gonna transition. If you don't already have your coffee after that, you might not need it. I don't know with everything Smay went there. But make sure you grab your coffee.
Right.
We're about to jump into some heavy crypto stuff. Starting off with our market pulse, a fan favorite. But really quickly, wanted to let you guys know the sponsor for today's market pulse is BitGet. First of all, shout out to BitGet for sponsoring this segment. But second of all, if you do not have an exchange right now that you love for trading, or if you have one that you're paying a ridiculous amount of fees on, and honestly you're a little concerned about security, BitGet is the perfect exchange for you because not only has it never had a hack on it whatsoever, it has one of the lowest fees out there in the entire space. Make sure if you're looking for a good spot to go trade, go get BitGet today. You will not regret it. There's a link down below. T-Shroom, go ahead and take us off into our market pulse.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening to the sound of my voice, then that can mean only one thing. That's that you are in the market pulse, baby. We are going to go ahead and start off here on the Fear and Greed Index, which is clocking in, still in extreme fear, at 22. Yesterday, it was also at 22. Over the weekend, we got up as high as 24. So almost peaked back out of extreme fear, but we could not do it. The threshold is 26, I believe, and we couldn't do it. And now we're back and still in extreme fear here going into the week October 10th. So we'll go ahead and move on into the CME future predicting tool here, which is still predicting 75 basis points. Not a huge surprise here. For those of you who don't know, maybe you're watching for the first time, some content here. What does this mean? The Fed every month, almost every month I should say, goes into their little chambers of decision-making and economic data, and they make a decision on how they're going to raise, lower, or stay the same their rates, the federal fund rate. And this tool helps us to figure out which one they're going to do. And why is this important? Why do people care about the federal fund rate? Well, because it determines the cost of money. It determines the cost that banks have to pay to borrow money, and that trickles all the way down to you when you buy a home, or you have a credit card, or you're buying a car. Anything that bears an interest rate is determined by the federal fund rate eminently. So it's very important. And historically, as you can see going to my screen, these fund rates have been going sky high. It's been increased at an unprecedented rate. I don't think it's ever increased at this rate before, this aggressively. It has been higher before, as you can see in this chart, in 1980. The interest rate was as high as 20%, so obviously much higher in the past. But there's a little context for you. We don't give this much context every time we do the CME Future Fed Rate Predicting Tool, but we did today for all you new guys. If you see anybody asking questions in the comments or the chats, please help them out if you're a wise sage when it comes to crypto and macroeconomics. Going to be moving into the stories here, but before we do, I would be extremely remiss if I did not give a preview of what's coming this Thursday. So at 8:30 this Thursday, we get the core inflation and the headline inflation, the CPI for September. So definitely be paying attention to that. The forecast is here on my screen. Forecasted for core is 6.5, and forecast for headline / CPI is 8.1. So very important to be tracking those. We'll probably be talking about that more in this show. Getting into the stories today, we've got some shocking to me headline here from the Bank of England. Bank of England strengthens emergency stimulus to help ease market turmoil. The central bank announced on Monday, today, that it would introduce further measures to ensure an orderly end to its purchasing scheme on October 14th. So this is following last month's unprecedented spike in gilt yields. Gilt is the bond for the UK. LDIs, which hold substantial quantities of gilt and are owned predominantly by final salary pension schemes, were receiving margin calls from lenders. So basically, this is really bad. This is not good at all. And the Bank of England's having to take some pretty desperate measures here. The bank's Financial Stability Committee met on September 28th, announced a 2-week emergency purchase program for long-dated UK government bonds, known as gilts, to restore order to the markets and protect liability-driven investments, LDIs, funds from imminent collapse. So this is really, really bad. This is like, the most conservative funds in the UK have a lot of bonds. Bonds are a conservative investment, and those bonds over there in the UK are going south, and they're going south quick. The value of them, the yields, however, are shooting up, and we've talked about that in previous videos. The inverse correlation between bond yields and bond values. So you can definitely go watch some previous videos on that. But this story is pretty big, and we'll probably be talking a little bit more about this today, and you'll be hearing about it, all over as it reverberates through the news. I believe this is unprecedented, so there'll definitely be more to come. I've got a quick chart for you all in here. This is the bond yields for the 30-year gilt. And again, sorry, if you're new, you probably have no idea what this is about and why the heck we're talking about UK bonds, why that's significant to crypto, but just bear with us for a second. They are up quite a bit today, and they're almost back to this spike that happened on the 27th of September. So that spike we're now seeing was actually just a test higher in an event to go back down, test lower, and now they're going to be going higher from here more than likely. So scary stuff there over in the UK. Really scary. Not just saying that. This is starting to be where the rubber hits the road. Like, they got to get these things right, or else things could go south for the UK. All right, and don't feel like just because you have your money in dollars or U.S. bonds that you're going to be immune from this. This is going to definitely have ramifications around the globe, as we'll talk about more. Going more into crypto stories, though, Bitcoin indicator that historically predicts explosive moves just started flashing, says the economist Alex Kruger. We've definitely talked about Alex here on the show before. He's a pretty trusted source. And so what is he observing here? Well, every time the BVOL closed below 25, an explosive Bitcoin move soon followed. Twice up, once down. The down was in November of 2018. So, it could go either way. It's happened where it went up twice and down once. Statistically, it's more likely to go up then, but I think that more than likely, it's probably going to go down here, as a lot of analysts have been predicting a breakdown lower for Bitcoin's price. But depending on what the CPI print is tomorrow, Thursday, it could potentially go up. It just kind of depends. Probably to the downside would be my prediction. The Economist said that Thursday's Consumer Price Index CPI announcement could be the fundamental catalyst that sparks Bitcoin's next wave of volatility in either direction. Inflation is forecasted to come at 8.1 year on year this week. So reading significantly higher or lower could trigger volatility in BTC. And I want to throw it over to Tim to kind of get his take on this. Tim, what do you think?
Well, first one, maybe you mentioned it and I missed it. What is BVOL? What is that? Does it go into detail about what that is measuring?
Yes, so it's the Bitcoin volatility index. So it's a good question what exactly it's measuring. I don't want to speak on that right now because I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But it's something that that this analyst has been paying attention to, that Kruger has been paying attention to a lot.
I'm going to be interested to see if a number lower than what we want, or sorry, higher than what we want leads to explosive to the downside. Don't get me wrong, it would definitely be possible, but I feel like we've been expecting, and we're expecting inflation to not necessarily be under control. So to me, I think that almost the only direction that could really bring some shock into the market is if it's a lot lower than what we thought. I think people are kind of already gearing themselves in. You guys saw earlier when he showed you that Fed prediction tool, it's still sitting heavily. People are just getting ready for 75 basis points again. When you see people getting ready for that, that means price is already starting to bake into what's happening. So for us to have a high inflation number, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be ridiculously high, I think, for there to be shock in the market. I think that this leans more towards a potential for bullish nature. But, let me know in chat what you guys think there. T-Shroom, you can take it back.
Yep. Yeah, no, absolutely. And, we're going to be definitely following this more because this is very important. It'll be, I think everybody's kind of anticipating Thursday to be a very volatile day. So be tracking that, just make sure. And then obviously Friday more than likely too will be. And even going into the early days of next week. But we'll move on and keep going here. So crypto community says new PayPal policy would drive crypto adoption. So I actually tweeted about this weekend. I was kind of just like on Twitter whenever they announced this, or this story broke. Keep in mind, what I'm about to read is actually not a policy from PayPal. They came out and said it's not a policy, but this was leaked. So the policy would have allowed the payment company PayPal to sanction users for misinformation by fining them up to $2,500. The firm had stated that its list of prohibited activities included the sending, posting, or publication of any messages, content, or materials that promote misinformation or present a risk to user safety or well-being. And then one of the early investors in PayPal here said, David Marcus said, tweeted, "It's hard for me to openly criticize a company I used to love and gave so much to, but PayPal's new AUP, new policy, goes against everything I believe in. A private company now gets to decide to take your money if you say something they disagree with. Insanity." And then Elon Musk, you may have heard of him, agreed. So, this is pretty big news. Again, a company spokesperson reportedly said PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy. We're sorry for the confusion that this caused, but it was there, and it did get into their policy. It was quickly removed, and who knows if. And my take on this really quickly is that more than likely, what I think this was and I tweeted to this effect, this was a data grab. So, I think it's been in the interest historically of corporations now more and more to say they're going to do something or say they have a position on a policy, see how Twitter responds to it, and try to measure how much of the margin is actually positive. So, when they posted this, I bet you there was tons of people on Twitter who actually felt positively about this. Oh, yes, this will finally stop the spread of the misinformation, and they were able to see what demographic, what the types of people, the types of accounts that would actually be positive towards this. I think obviously they would not roll this type of a policy out. I think that it's very curious that this even happened to begin with. But Tim, what were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was going to echo the same thing. I loved your tweet on that when you were kind of bringing that up. It looks like more and more is coming out. That's exactly, you probably hit it right on the head, that this was a test to see how much they're ready for it. And to be fair, I'm not going to go into detail on this. I think everyone can view this for themselves. Is that not something we've seen throughout history of, especially within the last 100 years, that they'll kind of test something. They'll see what can they get away with and what can they not, to know what they can go with the civilians. And I saw another tweet on the factors, like, if you think what PayPal is doing right now is evil, just wait till their CBDCs. You don't think that when there's CBDCs, there's going to be things like that as well? Misinformation gets penalized. What constitutes misinformation? When do you have to have a source and when do you not have to have a source? Is it literally just getting down to, I disagree with your opinion and I own the company, so I'm going to take your money? Mm-hmm. In which case, I mean, I'm seeing it here in chat. Absolutely. I never put money in PayPal. I don't use PayPal. That's not going to change today. I'm not about to start using PayPal. I think if anyone is still under the impression that this is going to go through right now, that is false. Like, they are backing off of it. They're not going to be taking money yet. But why would you even start using a company? Why would you continue to use a company that has even remotely started to threaten this as a move for the future? Bad move for PayPal. I think they got a little too aggressive with their testing, and this is going to bite them in the butt.
There's also a possibility that kind of a rogue employee was fully responsible for this. You know, they came out and did this maybe to sabotage PayPal's stock price, or to because they're advocates and they want this policy to go out there. And even though PayPal maybe won't roll it out, maybe another payment processor or similar product might roll it out. So
that sounds like a very convenient excuse that the executives at PayPal would use, but
right.
I don't know.
No,
if
I'm
that's
just exploring
factual.
all the possibilities.
But don't tweet that, because then you'll get fined $2,500. So,
yeah. So it's interesting, and it definitely exploded Twitter, especially some of the more conservative side. I saw so many accounts posting, "I'm taking all my money out of Twitter, out of PayPal. Take your money out of PayPal now." So pretty crazy stuff. But it all kind of comes down to, if these companies are going to start cracking down, it just makes Bitcoin so much more attractive, because there is no social component to Bitcoin. You could be a criminal and have Bitcoin, or you could be a 15-year-old soccer guru. It runs the gamut. Like, Bitcoin doesn't care who you are. And a lot of governments don't like that, because they want to be able to control crime. And there's other ways to do that. Obviously, we've been seeing that rolled out. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin, if you don't like PayPal, what PayPal is doing here, and if you don't like what other companies could potentially do here with CBDCs, what other nations could do with CBDCs in connecting it to a social credit score, which is kind of what all this is boiling down to, then Bitcoin's your guy, right? Or Cardano, or maybe even Ethereum, or some of the other coins that would be very difficult to weave in a social component. I mean, for every, all the talk about centralization that there is around Ethereum, it still was extremely difficult for them to even agree and then pass a merge, right? So it's not like it's going to be super easy for them to weave in anything that's even more slightly controversial. The merge only happened because it was just so obvious to everyone that would be an advantage. Going on to the next story, though, this kind of bridges the gap, kind of a good transition here. Bitcoin advocate Zia Sadr arrested by Iranian security forces. So someone who sees Bitcoin for what it is, sees it as the way out of an eminent marriage of social credit scores and CBDCs. The Iranian government has had enough. And it's taking place within a larger context of revolution that's going on there. But Nima Yazandmehr, who said he is a friend of Sadr, told CoinDesk that the arrest took place on the streets of Tehran on September 19th, and that Sadr has not been released. The arrest came amid wide-span anti-government protest over the state killing of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, which is a much bigger story. This if you haven't heard, this state killing of this woman has led to what is looking like it's going to be a revolution there in Iran. So we're not going to spend too much time on that. That gets more into international politics and stuff. But this is all happening within the context of major social unrest there in Iran, and they've just gone ahead and just arrested Bitcoin activists there. So we'll be tracking that story for sure as it continues to develop. But there he is. He's in custody there, and for the crime of just being a Bitcoin advocate. So. Iran is nowhere near, it's in terms of its regime and its will to arrest people. It's nowhere near the United States at this point, but it's just showing what states are willing to do to go against Bitcoin at this point in time. Native token of Bitcoin exchange Wabi jumps 18% amid fresh investment. So this is pretty big news. So it looks like they're getting the buyout they've been waiting for. Wabi's founder, Leon Lee Lin, recently sold off his stake in the company to About Capital, interesting name, a Hong Kong-based asset management firm which was accompanied by the promise of more investment. So finally getting that buyout they've been waiting for. I'm not going to read in too much into this because more than likely you're not in Huobi, but it's definitely a big move in crypto, M&A. So we always want to cover that kind of stuff. And hey, if you were in the token, you saw 18% gain there. So pretty nice stuff going on there. But in the world of stablecoins, back to square one, Circle's USDC market cap drops below 50 billion for the first time since Terra's collapse. So as you can see there, kind of the market cap of the USDC really suffering here. Its utility token has taken a hit in the wake of Binance's decision to consolidate order books and Circle's decision to freeze addresses associated with Tornado Cash. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here, how this story develops. But USDC appears to have lost market share to rivals Binance USD, the world's third largest stablecoin, and Tether. Since early July, BUSD's market value has increased by 21% to 21 billion, and Tether's has gone up by 3% to 68 billion. Several factors, as we read just before, but I'll read them again. Several factors, including stability in USDT, Tornado Cash sanctions, and Binance's recent decision to consolidate order books, are responsible for USDC's dwindling market cap. So, we want competition in the stable coins. That's definitely something that's positive, and it's not looking super good for USDC. It's mostly due to Binance's, their action there with their crypto exchange and their platform. But moving along, we got another unfortunate headline here, and this will wrap up our market pulse. TrueFi issues default notice to Blockwater over 3.4 million BUSD loan. So you've probably not heard of Blockwater here, but we're going to go ahead and read this because they are a significant name in crypto finance. Decentralized finance project TrueFi said it has issued a default notice to South Korean venture firm Blockwater Technologies for missing a scheduled payment on its 3.4 million Binance USD loan. So not looking good there at all, and you just continue to see these default, this word default associated with crypto companies, and it's not a good look. But more than likely, they were over leveraged, just like Three Arrows Capital and Celsius were. And it's just gonna, time's just gonna tell how this one turns out as well. So that is going to wrap up our market pulse, folks. I've been T Shroom here in your market pulse. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at T Shroom. Be sure to not only like the video and consider subscribing, but also share this video with someone who you think might benefit from it. Thank you so much.
Boom. Thank you so much, T Shroom. Great market pulse. Really quickly, we're about to jump into some technical analysis. We're going to be talking about Cardano. I'll look at Bitcoin and Dixie and probably even look at a little bit of XRP. But go ahead and if you have not already, smash that like button. There was a discussion in chat that I'm going to entertain for just a second before jumping into technical analysis. And that is with privacy coins. Could this be a catalyst? What we're seeing happen with PayPal, could this be a catalyst to get some more money into privacy coins? And we'll discuss this maybe a little bit later or maybe in a different show. But really quickly, my thoughts on this. I'm not quite certain that that's going to happen, and I want to hear what you guys think in chat. But privacy coins, when we're talking about regulation, could be one of the first that are hindered, because while you couldn't all out ban it and stop people from getting into it, could the motivations for people to use, or the punishments for people using privacy coins, be so severe that just nobody wants to use them? And remember, when we're talking about money, when we're talking about value, it is only good insofar as you can get a majority of people to agree. And if the majority of people don't want to touch privacy coins because of fear of being punished, then they're not going to want to go over there, and the value of those is going to stay low. That's the reason why Bitcoin could be so special. Again, remember this quote by Frederick Hayek when he talks about how if you're going to take power away from the government, you got to do it in a sly, roundabout way that's not violent. A privacy coin is just all out in the face of the government. We don't want you to know what we're doing. Therefore, they're going to shut that down quick. Not saying we shouldn't have them. I'm saying we won't have them because of how violent they could be against the current system. Bitcoin, though, could be a Trojan horse. So I'm still all on board for Bitcoin solving that problem. But let me know in chat what you guys think about privacy coins. Do you think that they can continue to exist, or will they be squashed? We're about to jump in and do some technical analysis. I'm sorry, Smay. I gotta keep moving here. We're gonna keep moving on with. We're gonna start off with Bitcoin chart real quick, and then we'll transition here.
Real quick, who's technical analysis sponsored by today?
Well, we're gonna get there. Okay. Thank you, mate. We actually have today our discussion sponsored, not our technical analysis.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so
well,
you jumped
misunderstanding.
The gun there.
Misunderstanding.
You jumped the gun there. Yes, sir. All right, we're going to go ahead and do some technical analysis here. Starting on Bitcoin, a lot of people are freaking out this morning. There even was a wick that came all the way down right here to about 19,147. But if you guys went back and watched Friday's video, I told you guys, hey, don't be surprised if we get down to those lower $19,000 levels. And I talked about 19,150 as being a potential because that still is within this zone of a rising support. Now, is this what you want to see? Is this good? No, I'm not going to jump on a limb and say this is good. We absolutely could continue to move to the downside and potentially cancel out this ascending triangle that has a bullish momentum. But as it stands right now, there is still very, very much a potential on Bitcoin to rally here and end up breaking back through and going back to 22,000. Let me pull up a couple other indicators here on Bitcoin really quickly for you guys. First of all, we still are operating under, on the daily chart, the bullish RSI divergence that we were in, for the last couple of days. So if you're looking at these 2 points right here, that the prices are dropping, and you're looking at this RSI, we still have that in form, and we really have not played out any bullish momentum from that. Also, when we're looking at this, I don't use this a lot, but the Lux Algo oscillator right here, we're actually starting to get a buy signal flashing as we move down to this 4-hourly chart. You guys see how the red's coming down, and you guys see this sliver of green. This is marked with times that are actually good for buying. Is it perfect? No, it's not. If you look at this button right here, this was a fake out, and we actually did not end up moving that much to the upside. So I'm not going to rely on just this indicator and say it's perfect. But historically, when we start to get this sliver of green, that is an indication that the market is oversold and it's time to start purchasing. Pulling up even Lux Algo on this, and you guys know one of the newest things I found here, I put it on Twitter, is using, if you go into the settings on Lux Algo, if you have it, and you go right here to presets, I am loving what I'm finding on this contrarian trader preset. Go ahead and click that, because what it's doing is actually watching for a massive amount of negativity in the space, and it will not be perfect because it's almost like trying to catch a falling knife, but I believe this indicator is better at catching falling knives than I am, and most certainly what you guys are. Look at some of the buys and sells that we've had flash here on this 4-hourly chart. That buy signal, just the candle before we hit bottom. These sell signals, like 2 or 3 candles before topping out. They have been some great indicators. Right now, we are still under a sell order that has a take profit right below where we currently are, around 19,078. But watch, we already had this red X flash. Potentially, could we see a buy order coming in here very soon? In fact, let me look at the hourly chart and see if we've had one flash here. Load for me. We did have one flash, but it does not have a very high take profit. So keep your eyes on this. Potentially, could we have a buy flash signal on the 4-hourly chart very soon? We will keep our eyes on that. I think on the daily chart, we actually already have one that we've been under here for a little bit of time. What are my settings here? I want to make sure my sensitivity is right. That's the other thing about these, about Lux Algos. Yeah, I got a 40 sensitivity. I like that. All right. So right now we are still currently under a buy order on Bitcoin, but it has been a while. We still have some room to fill it out, and it obviously could be canceled. So keep your eyes on what's happening on Bitcoin, but there is still signs that we could reverse right here in this little triangle and begin to go back to the upside. Now, the other thing that you got to keep your eyes on, and we're about to transition into some altcoins here too, but the Dixie is the other one that you guys need to be keeping your eyes on with what's happening, because more often than not, crypto ends up moving inversely to it. Let me go down to the 4-hourly chart and show you guys what the current level is sitting at. We've been talking about using Fibonacci on the Dixie because this is a lot harder of one to use formations and to use some other things. And I found a chart with volume, but you guys can see that volume is very sporadic and kind of weird looking. So it's maybe not the easiest one to use volume to make predictions on what's happening there. But using Fibonacci, we actually are sitting currently at the golden pocket. Does that mean that this is a time for the Dixie to reverse? Yes, the candle on the 4-hourly chart is turning red and moving to the downside, but it is not anywhere near over. We got to find out, can we actually see a reversal there? Let me pull up the RSI. There's not necessarily bearish RSI divergence forming, even though we are getting closer to that 70. So keep your eyes on this. There's a chance that this could be the reversal we are looking for with the golden pocket, but there could be one more push to the upside and potentially maybe some bearish RSI divergence forming. That's what I'm going to be watching for on the Dixie. Now, let's go ahead and transition over to Cardano, where things are getting a little interesting on Cardano. We've been talking about Cardano now for a couple of weeks, being in a falling wedge formation. That is where we have the descending level of support and descending level of resistance. And currently, we are kind of working inside of the top zone of resistance, but continuing to find this descending level of resistance that used to be resistance as support. And currently, that's still what we're doing. So just like Bitcoin, where I said, hey, is this painful? Yes. Do people like seeing seeing the price go down? No, they don't like seeing it. But technically speaking, in these formations, we are still sitting in a spot that could easily break bullish. I'm going to back out and go out to the daily chart so you guys can see this a little bit better. We are sitting in a descending triangle as well. So that is what we're kind of watching, but currently sitting in that fat zone of support that we have been sitting in now ever since back in May. This has been the bottom several times now. There is still a good chance that Cardano could rally with strong buyers still looking at these prices as being phenomenal buying prices. And look, yes, the resistance has been pushing us down and down, but every single time we come down to these levels, we've been able to respond with some good bullish price action. The bad news on this one is our prediction tool will only get us back up to this red line of resistance. If you guys are asking, Tim, what is that prediction? Well, falling wedges, we've talked about this on the channel. If you use the breakout or the initial opening of the channel of length and you move that over to the breakout point / where it comes back down to test its resistance, you're going to see us come back up towards that 49 cents, 48 cent level, but that just puts us right back towards this red line of resistance. We're going to need a lot more happening on Cardano to get more explosive, but that's not even the best buy signal we've had. Now, we're going to go back to Lux Algo here on Cardano to show you guys what we are seeing. A couple of days ago on the daily chart, our contrarian buy signal did flash when we came back down into this zone. When we pull up our RSI and we're pulling up the oscillator from Lux Algo, we also are sitting towards the bottom with red volume action here, and of course this green amount of, I don't know exactly what it's called. I forgot what the name for it is, but this green up top means we are sitting in massively oversold section. This right here could see us actually get some pressure. The last couple times we've had this signal, we've had bullish price action. So you go back to this one, and then you go back even further on the daily chart. This one was a little bit of a fake out. We started moving up, but of course there's a lot of negativity in the news surrounding this section. So there's one example of it not working. But moving down to the 4-hourly chart, which is going to show us what's happening a lot sooner. This is the one that I'm even more excited about. We just had another buy signal flash here. We're low on the oscillator. We have the green coming in, and we have a take profit sitting between 44 cents all the way up towards 47 cents. This is massive, paired with the fact that also on the daily chart, we still are sitting under a daily bullish RSI divergence on the RSI as well. It is about time that the Cardano price begins to move to the upside. And I know a lot of haters out there are going to say, Tim, you've been saying that for a long time. And you're right, I absolutely have. We've watched coins like Ethereum actually have its little rally and breakout. Of course, the hottest one of the day, and we're going to talk about this one just a second, XRP is having its own little breakout. Cardano is a coin that fundamentally is ready for a bullish price movement. It is just not come yet. And the fact that we haven't had it happen yet does not mean it won't at all. Instead, I actually think there's a good chance, just like a spring that has been suppressed for a very long time, when you finally release that spring, it's going to have an explosive movement. Also, could we potentially start to see some of these coins that are having some good action get some profit taken on them, and that moved over to a project where the fundamentals are getting better and better every single day? And you guys know we've said this before. We're not the only channel that says this. Price is downstream of fundamentals. Cardano is one of the strongest growing projects fundamentally, and therefore I'm still preparing myself for a bullish action happening very soon. The question is when, not if. Let me know in the chat, though, down below, what do you think? Are you done with Cardano? Are you tired of waiting? Or are you continuing to hold and expecting a big payday here coming very soon? Let's transition. The last coin I want to look at this morning before we jump into our discussion is XRP that we just talked about. Now, this one is very interesting. Of course, a lot of the rest of crypto right now is moving the opposite direction, where XRP is continuing to climb. We just broke out the other day from a ascending triangle. You guys know we talked about ascending triangles. We were talking about that on Bitcoin. These traditionally break bullish. And if we looked at this is the one I'm a little weary on with XRP, because this prediction tool, if I were to use it from this breakout point, would give us a price prediction on XRP upwards of coming all the way up to 71 cents.
Wow.
Now, I would love to see XRP get up to 71 cents. For anyone who's holding it, this is one that I more recently have bought. And if people are wondering where I bought it, you know, I know there's some negativity in chat, but there's not a lot of places to buy XRP. You know, one of the places you can get it? Uphold. I'm not even sponsoring this video, but shout out to Uphold, because that's one of the few places you still could go purchase and invest in XRP. The question about are we going to get to 71 cents though stays, because there is a descending level of resistance that we'd have to break through somewhere around 58 to 60 cents. The good news for XRP is that after breaking through this resistance zone and coming back up towards the peaks that we hit back here in September, we're coming back down and somewhat using these former resistance zone as support. The bad news for XRP and what we're looking at, and this was pointed out to me by someone on Twitter the other day, is that we actually on the daily chart are setting up some bearish RSI divergence on XRP. You guys know I'm a big believer in using this. If you're also looking at that Lux oscillator, you're going to see that we're starting to, it's really dark. We're starting to see a red cloud come in. We're also seeing the oscillator get up towards overbought. So keep your eyes on what's happening here. But there, I do believe is a good chance that XRP could at least climb up here towards 58 cents, hit our heads on the resistance one more time. Although at this point, with what XRP is doing, I would not count out a big spike, because they seem to be one of the only cryptos boosting up. There's something special going on about them. I think as more and more is coming out about this lawsuit, I think more and more people are switching to Team XRP. They're believing in it, that it's not necessarily a security, that there is a bright future for it, and potentially that just like we talked about with Cardano, when something's been contracted for so long, when a spring's been held for so long, there's an explosion. Well, guess what? XRP was one of those coins. If you go back out, while the rest of the market was rallying explosively, XRP stayed suppressed. This last bull run, they didn't even get to go back up and set a new all-time high that they set back in 2018 because of the SEC's suppression. Could we potentially just see XRP rallying back up to get to a normal spot where it gets what it deserves in the dominance chart over on crypto? I would love to know what your guys' thoughts are there. I know XRP is still one that's hotly debated. Some people love it, some people hate it. There's been news in the, you can go my screen now, full screen now, it's May. There's been some drama happening with Charles Hoskinson. And I hate seeing this, because even watching with how Charles is responding, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know every bit of detail of everything that's happened, but I do agree with him when he's saying, why are we splitting people apart? Like, I don't even want to operate with XRP people anymore, because it's like they want to divide the entire crypto space. He has gone on record to say he agrees that XRP should not be not in a lawsuit with the SEC. It is not a security. I do know he made some comments, though, about their community, and that has not gone down well. But as it stands right now, I'm still a believer in both of these projects. I think both of them are going to be here for the long run. I think both of them are going to make investors a lot of money. And as much as I'm using the technicals to say that XRP should be rejecting soon and going back to the downside, I'm also a strong believer in its fundamentals, and potentially, again, is this just kind of released frustration? It's been suppressed for so long, and it's time to be released. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. But we are going to transition now into a discussion about market cap overall. We kind of talked about that last Friday. Before we go there, Smay is very right. I got to let you guys know the sponsor of today's video for our discussion topic, and that is Hedge. You guys know we love Hedge. We talked about it very, very, very much on this show. They're one of our favorite sponsors, one of the biggest supporters of this channel. So please, please, please give them a warm welcome, because Hedge is a phenomenal project and a phenomenal friend of the show. They allow you to be paid in crypto. Yes, you don't have to use exchanges. If you want to use exchanges, you absolutely can. But if you want to be paid in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, others, and you want to skip exchanges altogether, Hedge lets you take it and go straight into your workplace and get direct deposits to your keys, to your cold wallets, or wherever you want to put the money, and save the exchange fees. If that is something you guys love, make sure you check out Hedge and use it today. Link in the description down below. Pause for a second. I gotta catch my breath.
We actually got a question of the day if you wanted to.
We do. Let's start off with the question of the day. This was a weirder show without having a guest and a little bit longer of a market pulse. Our timing's a little off. But let's do the question of the day, and then we'll jump into our discussion on market cap overall.
Absolutely, tootly. So, Smay, do not go to my screen for this, but
wasn't planning on it.
Oh, see, okay. Good. Excellent. So our question of the day today is, would you rather be only able to watch movies in reverse for a year, or have to wear your pants backwards for a year? So I'll let that one sink in for a second, and I'll read it again. Would you rather to only be able to watch movies in reverse for a year, or have to wear your pants backward for a year? So neither of one of those is something I would want. But if you had to choose, which would it be, Smay?
Oh, Smay, I'll go first. Definitely the pants. I mean, I feel like my entire life would be ruined if I had to watch movies in reverse. But pants, the pants that I wear, guys, here's the reality of being a big person. Once you get to a certain size, they don't care how they cut them anymore. It's just fabric with 2-3 holes in it, So at the end of the day, you can reverse it, wear it upside down. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. So I think I'll wear it backwards.
Okay, Tim, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go backwards pants too. And it's because yes, I have to go out in public every now and then, but I get to do a show where they never see my pants.
That's
Like,
true.
For all you know, I'm not gonna keep going with that sentence.
All right, come on, dude.
You never see
Have
what I'm
some
wearing.
class.
You never see what I'm wearing here or if I'm at home. I have a nice, because we just moved into a house and I have a garage, I was able to get my gym equipment back, and I now am working out in the gym in my little garage. Who cares what my pants look like when I'm working in my garage,
All
right?
So I know what you're alluding to there, partner.
I wasn't alluding to anything there, Smay, so you need to get your mind out of the gutter.
For all-
You're saying you have
as
your
a
own
whole,
home
though,
gym.
I watch more movies than I'm in situations where I need my pants to look good, I guess is the best way to say
That's
that.
what he's saying.
So I'll take the backward
I'm going to
pants.
give my response, and Smay, I want to see what the chat's been saying, so take a look there. I'm
yeah.
actually going to take the over on this one.
Take the over.
I do not want anyone to see me with my pants on backwards. I would feel extremely embarrassed. I mean, it would be fine if you just stayed home all the time, but if you had to go to the grocery store, everybody would be looking at me really funny, and I would not be able to stand that. And I don't really watch that many movies, so I wouldn't mind for a whole year watching some movies in reverse. Honestly, I probably just wouldn't watch any movies. I would watch a lot of TV and stuff like that. So,
but
what's
the other
chat
thing is,
saying?
you could be. You really have that outward going personality with backwards shorts and backwards pants everywhere.
It'd be a good conversation
You get
starter.
known as the backwards pants guy.
You could be like, why I wear these pants backwards? Not because of a crazy would you rather on Coffee and Crypto. I do it because it's a good conversation starter about the backward monetary policy of the Federal Reserve.
true.
And it's a good, exactly.
Boom.
Cool.
Do you want to hear what chat was
I
saying?
do want to hear that.
Okay, so chat is pretty overwhelmingly in the side of pants. They're going to choose reverse pants, although there's some people that are so horrified by the proposition that they'd rather watch their movies in reverse. So, but I would say it's mostly favoring people who want to wear their pants in reverse. But here's my thing. Last thing I'll say on this.
What's your thing, Smith?
Is that I genuinely don't. I think you guys underestimate overestimate how obvious it is. I guarantee if you're wearing sweatpants or something, you wear those backwards, it'll look a little baggy up front, but other than that, it won't look all that weird. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it is what it is. Let's transition back into our conversation, our discussion here. Once again, shout out to Hedge for sponsoring this section. But you guys know what? Last week I started to dabble in this, and I wanted to go a little deeper because this weekend I was thinking a whole lot about it. Go to my screen really quickly, Smay. Where could the market cap get in this next bull cycle? And I know we're still worried about where the bear market is, and I'm going to explore that just a little bit. But there's a couple different things that we can look. I was using Fibonacci to kind of explore. There's a couple other levels that I would look at as well. And I know a lot of this can be subjective because there's no telling how we're going to move in the next space. For example, if we were to go back to the top of the market cap we had back in 2018 up to the top of the market cap we had back here in 2021, we saw a 294, let's just go ahead and round it up to about a 300% increase in the space, right? All right, so if we were to let's just say we match that same let's say we match that exact same move and we go up just using the tops, for example. This would give us a market cap in crypto going upwards to about to about 11 to 12 trillion dollars. What I think is funny though is that actually kind of correlates a lot with what you had when we went back and we looked at the Fibonacci level. So what I'm going to do with Fibonacci, let's go to the top of 2018 down to the bottom of the bear market that we had, and then look at what point did we get to with the market cap moving into 2021. Well, if you're going to notice, we got here, and yes, we have a couple wicks that went through, but as a whole, we got back up to the 1.618 level. All right, well, let's explore that. Let's go back down and look at the market cap we're currently sitting with and see what would Fibonacci say if the bottom is in on our market cap for crypto. What would this give us a prediction of having the price action of? Going down to the bottom, that bottom wick right there, up to 1.618. This one would only give us about a $7 trillion level. So the question is, could we actually what's the range we're looking at here? Could it be between 7 trillion and 12 trillion? Are we looking at even more? Of course, there's things the charts can't even tell you. First of all, we don't know if the bottom is in or if it's not in. Let's pretend we went down a little bit more here towards levels that we had. If we're going to try to match what people are saying about Bitcoin, let's go back to the peak that we had back here in July of 2019. Let's say this was the bottom. This would give us a prediction of actually going up towards that 10 to 11 trillion dollar mark on market cap as well. The other thing you have to think about, you can now go to my face here. Kevin O'Leary has talked about the trillions of dollars of institutional money and hedge funds that are waiting to come into the space when regulation comes out. There's a lot of different things that we can't know for certain, but can speculate that I think a realistic prediction for the next bull market is to have about $11 to $12 trillion market cap on crypto. And there's a couple things I'm going to pull from that, but I'm going to start off right there. T-Shroom, what are your thoughts about that $11 trillion coming into the crypto space in the next bull market? Do you think that's realistic? Do you think that's fake? I also want to know what chat thinks as well.
Well, I mean, if you look at what's going on, what we saw today with the bonds in the UK, the gilts, man, there's so much uncertainty and there's so much rattling of the cages of all these asset classes out there that were just taken as, gold, just taken as it's always going to be valuable. It's so conservative. But now folks are really starting to question that. And I don't want to be Mr. Doomsday over here, but we are starting to see the world financial system have some really tough questions to answer. And they've had tough questions to answer in the past, and they've bounced back from that. But, who's to say that this can't be any different? I think that as we move forward, institutions have begun to adopt Bitcoin in a large way, and they've become invested in it, and they've become invested in the success of Bitcoin. And then you also have like what, Kevin O'Leary and other major investors are predicting, a bunch of big money getting unlocked potentially into the future through pensions and sovereign wealth funds, but also the domestic 401k of the United States. All the baby boomers out there who have these 401k net worths that is actually, I believe it accounts for 1/7 of the world's entire value is actually locked up in baby boomers' net worths, not just their 401k, but for some reason, it's American boomers have a giant amount of wealth. And, it's really been, for the most part untapped. Why? Because their fiduciary responsibility of their fund managers, the people who've managed their 401k, those fund managers cannot recommend Bitcoin, and they can also not buy Bitcoin on behalf of their clients. So it's a no-brainer to have your money in a 401k or some kind of Roth or some kind of tax advantage fund, which, by the way, we have some links for those types of services down below. I Trust Capital. But once those 401ks get unlocked, right, and the baby boomer generation is able to, my voice is doing something crazy, able to invest in Bitcoin through their 401k, that is going to unlock an immense amount of money. I don't know if it's going to be more than the sovereign wealth funds that Kevin O'Leary was talking about, but it's going to be comparable. I would have to imagine that the sovereign wealth funds do account for more. If you're considering every single nation's sovereign wealth fund, I think China is extremely unlikely to ever buy Bitcoin with their sovereign wealth fund, unless geopolitical dynamics change significantly. But if you're talking about the major Western countries that could potentially diversify into an asset other than their own bond or other sovereign wealth bond, other sovereign nations bonds, they are going to start looking for security somewhere. So my whole thesis here is that as the financial world, the global financial system begins to have some tough questions to answer. Not saying it's over yet. It definitely is far from over in terms of the global financial system. It's not there yet. But looking at what the Bank of England did, had to come out and do over the weekend, it's pretty scary stuff, and there's still some solutions on the table, but Bitcoin is becoming more and more that star second string quarterback sitting on the sidelines, potential star second string quarterback on the sidelines, and it's just going to take a coach, somebody like potentially Jamie Dimon, a coach that has been questioning the validity and the strength of that second string quarterback, or somebody like a Federal Reserve chairman or a central bank chairman somewhere around the world, the ECB, the Bank of England, or potentially a Joe Biden or the new Prime Minister Tusk over in the UK, to say, what, I think it's about time that our nation went ahead and invested in Bitcoin because of what it is. It's a limited supply. It has a defined supply, unlike our bonds, unlike gold, unlike especially our currencies. And I think we might be getting close to that as they consider that option. So, that's kind of my take in terms of, what did you say, 12 trillion? In what amount of time? By the end of 2030?
Well, so it doesn't really, not by the end of 2030. I'm talking about the end of next bull run, so if we're going to see probably a the halving is going to happen sometime in 2024, about like March to May area. And then we're probably going to see a peak sometime late 2024, early 2025, what our price would be there. Because again, I think 2030, we could have at least 2 more bull runs before then. And of course, I think the market's going to keep getting more explosive, more explosive, more explosive. But I think there's another bear market between what we're currently in right now to 2030. So I know there's been a lot of people talking about 2030. I'm just talking about the next bull market. And I'm going to go back to my screen here really quick, Smay. This is what's really interesting as we start to even say, all right, let's just roll with the punches of saying 11 trillion is a realistic expectation for the next bull market. By the way, the last peak was around 3 trillion, so that's more than triple the previous market cap. But again, I think that the money is there, the institutions are there as we start to get regulatory.
Okay.
That was fun. Regulatory clarity coming into the space. I think you're going to see more clarity there. But here's the deal. Let's look at these dates here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. It makes sense. This bottom we've had here, the lowest we've ever been, around 35%, back at the top of the last bull market back in 2018. Again, we dipped down originally after having a spike back above 50, heading towards over 70%. Back here last May in 2021, we then spiked back down or came back down to about 41%. And instead of rallying back up as we begin to have this bear market, yes, we had the peak again in November right here. Look at how the dominance on Bitcoin has stayed low. I believe, and I want to see how this plays out. It depends on what happens with a lot of other cryptocurrencies, but I think the days of Bitcoin being above 50% dominance are over. The fact that we're getting, whether we keep going down or not, the fact that we are this low as we are in Bitcoin, at currently sitting about 41% dominance on the crypto space, I think there's a very good chance that realistically, we're going to be starting to trade at lower levels where it's actually going to be a good thing to get back above, like bottoms of bear markets will be back at 40% for Bitcoin at best, and tops will be starting to shoot down towards 30% or so. And let's just do the math on that real quickly. If there was $11 trillion market cap and there was 30%, let me do my phone real quick to make sure I do this correctly. That would put us at about a 3.6 trillion dollar market cap for Bitcoin. Well, what is a 3.6 trillion dollar market cap for Bitcoin? That would put, let's see, 3.6 times, we're about 19 million. That's going to put us closer to about, oh man, I did that math wrong. What is that one? That's going to put us at what, 100 and... Gosh, I got to type in the math. You can go off my screen now, Smay.
Math is hard.
What do you think about that T-Shroom, though? What do you think about of that realistic level of saying that Bitcoin at the top of a bull market at best would have about 30%?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, if you take a look at my screen, I'm just kind of doing some quick little chart analysis here. I think you could. 12 is pretty conservative. I think, well, it's not conservative. 12 is pretty realistic. I think conservatively, somewhere around 10 or somewhere around, 7, I think that's kind of your conservative range. And I'm talking about post-halving, so after the halving in 2024. There could be a catalyst before then. You have a major country like Argentina potentially bringing Bitcoin into legal tender status. Or another country that's dealing with inflation in an extreme way, the UK, hint. Something like that where they have to turn to, what would be unprecedented and extreme measures, but not something to completely rule out. Absolutely. But yeah, no, I think it's in the cards.
Yeah, Aaron Jade, I'm still trying to find the math here to do that. He's saying about 190K would be a Bitcoin price. That's a little higher than what I said last Friday. About 150 is what I was expecting. Somewhere between 130 to 150. But yeah, I think that's the case right there. I think we're looking at best case scenario, and that was my 30% dominance. Best case scenario, Bitcoin is sitting at around 200K. That would still put Cardano, if we're talking about Cardano's peaks up around 4%, we're still talking about Cardano best case scenario getting to about $10. We're talking about Ethereum's best case scenario getting up to about $12,000. I know last week we talked about $7 and $9,000 for Ethereum. There's something to be said, though. I think that people are still sitting here waiting and saying Bitcoin is going to explode up to, $1 million here in the next bull market. There are people out there saying 20,000 for Ethereum. There's people saying, I mean, $1 million might be high for Bitcoin. I think it's more like 500,000. Ethereum could get to 20,000. Cardano could get to about 15, maybe a little higher than that. I think that we need to start preparing ourselves right now as we're making these purchases, that we need to be conservative, and then we need to look at what the aggressive levels are. And to me, I'm looking at Cardano, $7 to $10. Best case scenario, $10. Worst case scenario, probably more like $5. But $7 realistic. Ethereum, 9,000 to about 12,000, and Bitcoin about 130 somewhere to, I think 190 even is a little high. So 130, maybe 170, $1,000 per coin. What is your take on that, T. Shroom? And Chad, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on those as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little tougher, but I mean, you're getting a lot of price predictions here on Coffee and Crypto this morning. Tim is really going all out, batting for the fences with these, not really holding anything back. I personally don't spend a ton of time thinking about these price predictions. I'm more into the kind of the weeds of the different, different like layers that are getting changed and all the different updates from a technical standpoint. But, I think what I'm hearing is definitely realistic. I mean, these, as far as these predictions go, I think that you're pretty spot on. I really like what you've predicted in the past. You've been right, definitely more than I've heard you be wrong. So, I would say, probably pretty spot on.
Well, and the reason I did this, and I know, I was trying to, I don't know why I didn't have the math on the Bitcoin one done before the show. I should have, I had it on Ethereum, Cardano. But I'm looking at these things, and there's a lot of different possibilities out there. But the fact that we have not seen a massive amount of cryptos die in the space. For example, right now there's still 21,000 cryptos out there, and a lot of those are little crap coins that are never going to do anything. But for Bitcoin to get back to 50% dominance, for Ethereum to start climbing and getting closer towards 30, 40% dominance, which, by the way, you're right there. If we had a 30% dominance on Ethereum and a 50 on Bitcoin, there's just not a whole lot left for the space. I think that there will be a time down the road where cryptos begins to lean out. And what I mean by that is, I think at a certain point, similar to the tech giants, when Microsoft first started, there was a lot more competition there is today. I think they've kind of come down to where there's just a couple of legitimate options out there,
right.
And then the losers died off. I think we're still a very long way away from crypto kind of getting to that place, and even so, I think there's a very realistic chance that blockchain technology, because of what it does not only for store of value but for the world as a whole, with the ability to build smart contracts and to be able to do a lot of different things that we haven't even discovered is possible with blockchain technology. Mm-hmm. I think the concept of Bitcoin getting back up to 50% is just done. I actually think it's going to be realistic for us to get to a time, maybe in 2030, where we're talking about Bitcoin. It is a great time. At the bottom of bear markets, it's only holding like 30%. The top of bull markets is getting closer towards 15 or 20%. And I think the reason I wanted to bring this up is because despite the fact that we're low right now, despite the fact that we're still asking a question, is the bottom in or are we going lower? The way we think about the future has implications on what we're doing with our stuff right now. Too many people are only looking at the prices of coins and not paying attention to market cap. Too many people are acting how much money can I make between today and next week, and not asking the question, how much money do my investments today make me in the long-term future? And because of that, I think there's some people with too much hopium saying, if I invest now, in 3 years, I'll be a multi-millionaire if I just buy like one Bitcoin. Let's get realistic. There's also other people that are just saying, well, why would I buy right now? Because it's going to take me long time to make money. To know the numbers and have realistic expectations about what the next couple of years looks like has heavy implications on how you should be investing today. Some people have too much hope and they need to calm down that hope. Some people are too pessimistic and they need to realize there are brighter days ahead. So we'll keep exploring this. We'll keep talking about this. This is going to be a question you're going to see me asking a lot more guests on the channel. I'll probably let them, prep and do their work for it. But I think a very big mistake is not looking forward and not thinking about what the future looks like, because when all I think about is what the chart looks like over the next couple of days, and I think you should. I think everyone should be looking at that. That only enforces short-term motivation. That only looks for short-term gains, and it does not build that delayed gratification that is what makes people extremely wealthy. So let me know what you guys think down in chat. If you guys love that type of thinking, if you want to look forward, if you want to see more content talking about the potential and where cryptos could go in the future, let us know, and we'll be doing more of that, and we'll get more takes from guests on. It is time, though, to transition into our community time. I know there's probably a lot of chat, a lot of engagement with that. Some people not liking it whatsoever, some people loving it. Smay, what do we got going on?
Yeah, hello, mine brothers. It's time to read chat. And by chat, I mean we have 2 super chats from Elliot Locke, and I love Elliot Locke. First one says, Smay, in all caps, Smay, never, ever knock a nap. You will thank me. And I'm going to have to disagree with you, Elliot Locke. I'm going to have to knock naps because the fact of the matter is it really diminishes your productivity, and that's what the night's for. The night's for sleeping, not
I disagree.
the day. So,
I disagree.
you disagree?
I like naps.
Yeah. Well, I used to live by the philosophy of sumo wrestlers, which is nap make me strong. But at the end of the day, I realized nap made me unproductive. So I'm not going to do that anymore.
Dude, I took a great nap yesterday on accident.
Ooh, that's the best.
I was out doing yard work, and sometimes I get like allergic to like the grass that gets cut up. So I was like getting really itchy. So I took allergy medication, and as soon as I swallowed it, I looked at it, and it was the drowsy like Benadryl. So great nap. I mean, it was, got to sleep for like 3 hours in the middle of the afternoon. I haven't done that in a long time.
Well, here's what I will say, and I want to get you guys' opinion on this in the community as well. There is just something that hits different when you take a caffeine nap. Like you drank a cup of coffee, but it wasn't strong enough, so you ended up taking the nap anyways. When you wake up, the caffeine does something in your sleep that when you wake up, you feel like a superhero, dude. You feel like super powered. Can you guys relate to that feeling?
I can't relate to that, no. I've never taken an...
I don't take a lot of naps. So
caffeine has
I felt good yesterday.
Well, some of you guys may be able to relate to this. If you drink a cup of coffee and you take a nap and you wake up, that is the most euphoric feeling in the entire world.
Wow.
You feel so productive. But anyways,
There's no way that's true.
it is so like I'm telling you
It's
now.
the most euphoric feeling in the world?
Yes, like you have to try it.
Waking up from a nap?
Yes. After drinking caffeine, I'm telling you, I don't think I've ever just felt
One of my
better
favorite
doing
things
that.
about Smay is when he says things that are outlandish, and then someone calls him on it, and he just sticks to his
Doubles
guns.
down.
That's a man.
Yeah.
That's a man that sticks behind.
I think we
no
have
matter
some-
how wrong you are,
We
you
have
stick
some
to it, Smay. I love it.
euphoric experiences that we need to share together, Smay. Maybe we'll go ride a roller coaster.
I didn't know where that was headed,
Ride a roller
so we're gonna
coaster.
move right
Let's
past
keep
that.
moving on,
Go
yeah.
buy
Next
some,
super chat.
buy some flowers.
All right, so next
give them
super
to a
I've done all
beautiful
those
woman.
things, T-Shroom, thank you. And I'm telling you, caffeine naps. Okay, here, Jeremiah 0007 says, I agree, caffeine naps, or referring to naps, are the bomb. And that's exactly right.
No, he didn't. He said maps. He's,
All right. Caffeine maps. Oh, I must find the treasure. Whatever.
oh,
I don't know.
gosh.
Pirate who's caffeinated drawing maps. That's what the character I was playing. But anyways, I'd like to go ahead and read this next super chat from Elliot Locke. Says, what happens to the world economy when Powell raises rates until the end of the year, yet Europe lowers them because they are hurting worse than us?
What happens? There's a lot of knock-on effects.
Read it one more time. I want to make sure I get the first part of it.
I would love to do that, Tim. What happens to the world economy when Powell raises rates until the end of the year, yet Europe lowers them because they are hurting worse than us?
Well, that's what we've been talking about now I wanted to make sure. I guess I didn't pay attention to the first part of it. That we've been discussing on the show of how disastrous that would be. And it's kind of in a space where I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't know what the best thing for Jerome Powell to do at this point is. It's really easy to go back and look at the past and say, wow, Jerome, you should have started raising interest rates back in February when we knew that we needed to start doing that. But he's kind of kicked the can down the road to a place where he's going to have to make some tough, very tough decisions, because you're absolutely right. If the Bank of England and then we start to see some banks in all across Europe start to go back towards quantitative easing while the United States continues quantitative tightening, that's gonna cause economies not to get painful, to shut down. If trade gets shut down because the dominance of the US dollar is too high, that is not good for anyone. This is one of the reasons why, and I hope that we start to realize this is the problem and bring production back to the United States. When you do not produce everything you need within your country and you rely upon domestic trade and you rely upon trading with all these other countries, you get stuck. When they suffer, you suffer. If we produced everything here in the United States, or at least had the option to produce everything in the United States, you can make the argument, all right, well, we won't trade with other countries. They'll still collapse, so we can regulate our dollar, and we can continue to exist as an economy. That is not what we set ourselves up to do, and which is one of the reasons why, as much as it would suck to inflate the U.S. dollar, and it's going to make everything that you and I spend money on way more expensive, Would you rather things become more expensive or just stop being sold altogether? And we're going to have to make massive changes in our lives that we're not used to. We're kind of stuck between a suck and a suck place. Which what sucks worse?
Yeah,
So.
well, and then my response would be is that inflation is just going to be insane in Europe. I mean, it's already in double digits, and it's going to continue to go higher with everything staying the same right now. Like if all trajectories of all the central banks just kept doing exactly what they were doing now, I have no incentive as a British or a European citizen to buy my sovereign bonds. I would only want to buy dollars and things like American bonds, but probably not even that. I probably want to buy American equities, but really I just want to be in cash. I want to be in USD. And, if I'm a savvy investor there, I legitimately want to start looking into cryptocurrency. I know that's obviously, I'm kind of preaching to the choir, but I want to be looking at alternatives. Silver and gold, we saw a huge spike in those last week. And, for good reason. People are looking for alternative ways, places to put their money in. It's not good. This is not good at all. So, but the biggest thing to answer your question is, inflation in Europe and in the UK for sure is going to happen because they're not really doing what is needed to fight inflation there. So
well, and again, the last thing I'll say, and then we'll go read the next question. Remember, someone was reminding us the other day, Japan, which is again a massive country you need to be doing trade with. They never really started quantitative tightening. They've been continuing to kill their money. So again, if you continue to if you continue to build up the U.S. dollar while these other countries are suffering and they have to start backing off quantitative tightening or refuse to start it, that's just not going to be good for anyone. It's not just Europe. I mean, we depend on a lot of trade with Europe, but watch as Asian countries start to suffer as well, or currently are suffering, and it's just going to be there's nowhere to get any of our goods and services.
Okay, yeah, and as they say, the age-old phrase, when America sneezes, the world gets a cold. So that's something to keep in mind.
That's
Anyways,
good. That's good.
Next here we have from Crypto Alchemist says, stack sats. Short-term price action is irrelevant. I'm so glad to have crossed the emotional threshold of not caring about what the price is anymore.
Yeah.
This is a long-term play. Bear market is for building wealth, so build.
Excellent point of view.
And then here we got another one just came in from the True King 11. Shout out to the True King 11. Says, hopefully we agree on who that True King is. Together we can take MediaCoin to the a shill snuck in here.
Media.
I almost got past you.
A shill. So it appears we do not have the same True King.
I want to go back to what Crypto Alchemist said and just let this one settle in. I hope a lot of people are starting to flip their brains to this as well. But that stack sats, stop paying attention to the price. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have to pay attention to the price every single day. I think we all should pay attention to the price. But removing that emotional correlation and emotional attachment to what your U.S. dollar portfolio looks like. There's a video we posted here, not this past Saturday, the Saturday before, where we were out there asking college students about crypto. And there's a guy, it didn't make it on the camera, but he was talking about, or he said this on the camera and then the response didn't go through. But he was talking about how he invested in Bitcoin back at like 60,000. And then, of course, we had a crash after we hit 69, and he said he got out around 34. And I asked him, okay, so did you lose half your Bitcoin? He said, yeah. No, you didn't. It's the same thing of like, I might even start to ask this question. I might do a video where we go and ask college students this question, T-shirt. Let me know what you think. But ask the people, if you buy Bitcoin at $30,000 and then you sell it at $15,000, did you lose half your Bitcoin? And then you get a little simpler with them because they're probably going to answer it wrong and say, if you bought 4 apples for $10 and then the price of the apple goes down to $1 per apple, how many apples did you lose? And watch people start to try to think the math and say, okay, if it was $2.50 per apple and then it dropped, I would have. It's like, no, you didn't lose any apples. You just bought apples at a higher price and then the price got dropped.
Yeah.
You don't lose a single dollar of U.S. dollars in Bitcoin until you sell at a loss. And that's the whole reason why, again, I'm even trying to help. The reason for me kind of going into the long-term effect, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of people who say, oh, why is Tim from Coffee and Crypto looking at the top of the next bull market? We don't even know when the bottom of the next bear market is because there are so many people right now freaking out about the price of Bitcoin being down below $20,000, and they're convinced we're going to start going down towards 10,000. Some even I've seen, and we're going to have a guest on the channel here in a couple of weeks who believes they're going all the way down to $5,000 or $3,000. But they're going to refuse to purchase right now. They might even sell at a loss if their thinking is, well, I'm in so much of a loss, but if I sell money right now and I take some capital, I can buy back in at $10,000 and make a whole lot more Bitcoin. And what they'll end up doing is screwing themselves out of a good buying opportunity. And in reality, if we're looking here at the next to the top bull market and Bitcoin is sitting at $150,000, $190,000, if Cardano is sitting at $7, if Ethereum's sitting at $9,000, any purchase you have made within the last couple of months and will make for the next couple of months will make you a lot more money than almost any other investment out there in the stock market, any other investment with investing opportunities. Crypto in the next bull market is still going to be one of the best places to invest. But if you don't think about what the future looks like, and if you don't remind yourself, hey, even when my portfolio is in the red, the green days are ahead, you will flood out of the space and then get frustrated. And then when you miss the bottom, and now you're just stuck here with a lot of dying US dollars or dying fiat currency, and you did not get a good buying spot, you will beat yourself up and say, why didn't I just stay in at $20,000?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's exactly right.
And really quick on that note, speaking about mental health and, psychological trading and things like that.
Segue, I like it.
Is I'm going to be on a Twitter space tonight with Emperor Duder. He's a very strong part of our community.
Old Mike Markle.
Exactly. He's been in our chat today a lot. And you can just, are you in my screen, Smay?
Dude, I was so ahead of you.
You will see that they have made this awesome little promo, and they got a little bit of a tubby t-shirt over there.
That's what I noticed. That's what, it made me laugh.
Purple. You had to wear
I was like, why'd they make him so chunky compared to everyone else? Because also whoever the monkey guy is buff, dude.
Bo Diddley is very buff, and I do have the floor there. It looks like I'm getting to speak, but I've got a little bit of extra apocalypse energy there.
Apocalypse energy.
So a lot of fun. And you guys can tune in 8 p.m. tonight Eastern time. I will have just finished a ruck with Tim. Tim and I are going to be,
to get rid of
hopefully
that.
Tim can come.
I hope
that extra
I freaking
energy.
dropped. I found out. Now that I'm thinking about it, I did a lot more this weekend than I thought. I put a bed frame together and I dropped it on my toe. So we'll see if.
Wait a second. Are you guys? You're doing the ruck tonight?
Yeah,
That's the plan.
Do you guys want to try my location? Because I was going to go tonight.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it after the show, Smith.
All right. Yeah. All
We've
right.
got some
my
predictions
goodness.
to make, I think.
Do we have? Yeah, we have our prediction, our HoDL Trophy predictions. We want our community to engage with that as well. But is there anything else in chat? There was good. People said I rhymed. What did I say that rhymed? I don't remember. I definitely didn't do it on purpose because I can't remember what I said.
I didn't hear anything that
I think
rhymed.
everything you say rhymes.
It's like
You're
music
so
to my
eloquent.
ears.
Yeah,
I don't.
it's like elvish
think
speech.
that's true.
Elven speech.
I don't think that that's true.
So it also appears that T-Shroom, everything he says doesn't rhyme. It seems like he just stutters.
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Oh,
But
man.
I said that with love, by the way, T-Shroom. That was more of like an observation rather than a dig.
Oh, I know.
Okay, just so
I could
we're
tell.
clear. Just so we're clear, because it is Mental Health Awareness Day. So I just want to be clear about that.
I don't think it's Mental Health Awareness Day. Is it? Is that what?
I don't know. I just declared it to be. All right. Let's see if we have any other chats.
Yeah, any other normal chat that we have here?
I just like set the camera on Tim while I was looking at chats, and he looked very.
I'm
focused
trying to
on
read
reading.
chat to see what is happening there
Let's
as well.
see. Well, here's a good one. Rucking is for people who never join the Army or Marine Corps. What are your thoughts about that? T-Shroom?
That would qualify me.
I think the only people that ruck are in the military usually. I mean, unless you're like a big fitness guy or something, or
Well,
gal or something.
Yeah,
but-
sure. You don't hear about like. I mean, I've definitely seen people do like long hikes with like.
Could you
farmer
read that one
berries.
again, Smay? Maybe there
Well,
was some
so
kind
here's so yes, I'm gonna read it again. Rucking is for people who never join the Army or Marine Corps, and
I think you're just being sarcastic.
what I'm interpreting of that is that no Army soldier in civilian life chooses to ruck. That's what it sounds like you're saying.
I love it. I love rucking.
Well, see, what I find fascinating is it's just a fancy term for hiking with gear.
Well, with 35 pounds of weight usually.
Yeah.
And you're
Trust me, I'm carrying a lot more of that just regular hiking. So
I don't. But I think the whole point is I don't think anyone. So people might go on weighted hikes, but nobody that's not in the military calls it a ruck.
yeah, that's the point. I
They
think
just call
that's
it a
the
hike.
point. Yeah, it's just a hike with weights.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am in the military, but I'm not like, active duty. So maybe there's some more there that I don't know.
Because here's the thing. I like to go on hikes every day. I've been doing about 4 miles a day.
That's good.
Just to brag on myself real quick. And no, but I think, you guys are rucking. I'm hiking. I see them as the same activity. Let us merge this activity. And we said we'd talk about it after the show, but I want other people to convince you guys to do the same with me.
Oh, goodness. All right, well, let's go ahead and do our HoDL Trophy predictions. Then I'm interested to see what people say here. This is definitely going to be a hard one. I'm going to be very torn with what I want to do here, but the good news is I don't have to go first. T. Shroom has to go first because he is the reigning champion in office.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's see. Well, I think what I'm going to do is I am going to take 20,000 because I think that the inflation, 20,000.
That's a good prediction.
I think the inflation print is going to be favorable to U.S. equities and crypto, and we're gonna test the upside and maybe even go up to 30. But I'm going to take 20.
30? You think we go all the way to 30?
On this well, I mean, what did we reported today that BVOL indicator, is at 20, is down below 25.
So you're okay. All right. Your prediction is the explosive would give an additional 10,000.
The other thing strategically,
it definitely will not happen by Friday though. If we start to make our way towards 30, that's a little too quick.
Well, no, the inflation print is Thursday.
You think in one day we're gonna go from 19,300 to 30,000?
I think stranger things have happened. And I think we're going to be closer to 20. So the other thing,
30,000.
Well, he's not predicting 30,000. He's just saying that he's like.
Sorry, my brain finally caught up to what you guys were saying, and I was like, "Holy shnikes!"
Yeah, it was high.
We've just started these hour-and-a-half episodes, and my brain is turning to mush more and more. But how mushy can it be? Because look who's holding the HoDL Trophy over here.
Well, you just said more and more, so it's progressive, which means you weren't as mushed last week, and you're progressively getting worse.
We got to get some other predictions out there. I'm taking 20.
Yeah, I go second on this one, and I'm glad. I agree about the upward momentum. I think 30 is high, definitely. I'm going to go to 20,500, and it's not just because you said 20,000. It's because I think that we are starting to move back up towards that resistance level. I think that there will be a favorable outcome, and I think that also we're going to hear from Jerome Powell. Even if we had a 75 basis point hike one more time, I think you're going to hear more dovish terms because he's going to realize, as much as he's been talking about the unemployment numbers being one of his key things, there will be some skewed data on that. As someone reminded us in chat the other day, the time of seasonal hiring has picked up. Also, there's been numbers being taken off because there's been people that have not had a job for so long, they actually got removed from the equation. So that unemployment number actually is a lot higher than it currently looks.
Yeah,
I think we watched Jerome Powell start to address that and start to address what we see happening over in UK and in Europe with the banks starting to fall and him knowing I got to start making some moves to not shut down the world economy. I think it's favorable. 30K is a little high for me. 20,500 is where I'm going to go.
And wow, guys, that I get to go last. And that means I'm going to pick what you guys all expect me to pick, 21,000.
So you got me a little window.
Dang it.
Well, at least you got outside of the. That was my one fear, is that Smay was going to go bullish this week because he's always bearish. But I went with my gut, and I probably would have said 20,500 or 20,000 myself if I had to go first. So I liked your prediction. So here's the deal. Now, community. First of all, shout out to 151crypto.com, who was last week's winner and gets to brag all of this week. Also, if he has not reached out to our support team at support@cryptojebb.com to get his free month of Club DeFi, he needs to go ahead and do that. And from here on out, every single week, community winner will be able to get a free month of Club DeFi. Just make sure you email us and we get you set up. To enter to win, most of you know by now, but I want to make sure anyone who's new here, if you would love to compete in our community HoDL Trophy predictions, what you got to do is go to the comment section down below. I'm seeing a lot of people put numbers into chat, and I love it. The problem is you will not be entered if you comment in chat. You're only entered if you comment in the comment section and use BTC prediction and then your number. And for kicks and giggles, let us know whose team you're on this week. Who do you think is going to win? Let's review those numbers one more time. T-Shroom is the lowest predictor at $20,000. I am sandwiched in the middle at $20,500 because Smay went at $21,000. But honestly, as much as my window is small, I think this is going to be a very interesting race because I do think the price will be back up towards those levels. And if it's not at those levels, it's because we went down. It's because something happened and we're actually exploring potentially back at around 18,000, if not lower. So let us know in chat what you guys think. Let us know in the comments what your prediction is. We're going to end a little early today. We normally go to about 11:30, but we will be back tomorrow with more great content. Frankie Candles is joining the show to do some technical analysis. I'm going to get his opinion on what he thinks long-term when he's looking at those dominance charts and when he's looking at the crypto space as a whole. Make sure you do not miss it. Go ahead and if you have not already, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all of our content coming to you. We love you guys. That's all we have for you in this video. Smay, you can roll the outro.